Okay, we're going to go over the math spiral review number 9. This is for block 2. And this spiral review is due on Friday, which is October 22nd. So you should write that at the top, and you should go ahead and put your name. Okay. Over here on the left in the number sense column, the first set of directions talk about rounding. Okay. And over here, I want you to note this is a decimal. Remind me, what is different when we round to a decimal place? What is different when we round to a decimal place? Eloise? We do not add zeros. We just drop the digits after the number that we rounded to. Okay. Looking at this number, it's 89,813,391. First, you need to round. Then you need to tell me the value. That's going to be what is the digit worth. It's going to be a number. And then you need to tell me the place value of the underlying digit. So at the end of that line, we're going to go ahead and write the word place. And we know that that is going to need to either be ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Could also, there's no decimal, so it's not going to be a decimal place value. Okay, here we have what is the relationship between the two eighths. It says here to write the value of each digit along with the relationship. Who can remind me, what does that question mean when it says, what is the relationship? What does the question mean? Will?
It means like how much bigger it can get.
How much greater is the first 8 than the second 8? How much greater? How many times greater? So the first 8, you need to say the value of it, is how many times greater than the second 8? And you need to say the value of that 8. Okay? Okay, over here on the right side, we have addition. First, you need to estimate. Remember, you can go back to journal pages 35 and 36. But the rule is, if the numbers are the same length, round all the numbers to the highest place value. If the numbers are different lengths, round all the numbers to the highest place value of the smallest number. We have to round both numbers to the same place value column. So we can't round to the 100,000s here because the second add-in does not have a 100,000s digit. What place value column will we round this to? Olive? The 10,000s. So go ahead and highlight that column so we know where we're rounding. And then here we are subtracting. There is a decimal. What place value column will I round to? What place? The hundreds. Now I have a question. Will I make this 0.00?
No.
No. I will take my decimals off. Okay? And it's subtracting. You also need to find the actual sum and the actual difference here. And then do the estimate and then decide if it's reasonable. Would you guys like to do this first one together to make sure we all know what to do?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that one together. Shh. The second one?
Yeah.
Okay, so first we're just going to subtract. Okay, 3 minus 9, there's more on the floor. I can't go next door because it's a 0, so I come to my ones place, make it a 6. That makes my 10th place a 10. Now I need to borrow from my 10th place, which gives me a 9, and I can add 10 to my 100th place, giving me 13. 13 minus 9 is 4. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down my decimal point. 6 minus 6 is 0. I can't do 0 minus 1, so I can regroup. 10 minus 1 is 9. So my answer is, just for fun, who can read this number? How do we say it? Luke? what does the decimal point say? And 90 and 14. Very good. Everyone say it together. 90 and 14 hundredths. Then over here I need to do my estimate. If I'm rounding to the hundredths place, what will this round to? What does this round to? 200. And we drop we don't need to put decimal point 00. We drop all the digits after the decimal. Minus, what do I round this one to? 100. So my estimate is 200 minus 100. Is that pretty close to 90 and 14 hundredths? Yes. So that is reasonable. You'll need to do the same thing at the top, except there's no decimal. Okay, 46 divided by 8. We need to draw a model. How many groups am I going to have? 8. 8 groups.
No. Keep on going.
And then you can also put a little space down here for your remainder. Okay? Shh, it's okay, guys. It's coming. So, however many go in each group, and then how many are left, you can show down here in your remainder. 3 times 8. How many groups will I have? 3. It's 3 groups of 8. Now, a lot of times, I hate to say it, but I see where you guys write this down, but then you do 8 groups of 3. Okay, this X in our multiplication sentence says groups of or rows of. So it's 3 groups of 8 or 3 rows of 8. That's how you need to draw your model. Okay, is there another one on this page outside of this? Is there another one you want to do together on this side? We haven't done some of these over here in a while, so let me know if you think you need any of them. Okay, yes, McKenna.
Just to get it out of the way, can we do the one with the relationship?
We can. I think that's a good choice. Okay, so what is the value of the first 8? What's the value of the first 8, Colin? Okay, so 80 million is how many, we'll leave a blank, times greater than, what's the value of the second 8? What's the value of the second 8? Gemma? 800,000. Okay? Now we know as we move to the left on the place value chart that the value of our digit increases 10 times. So the tens place is 10 times greater than the ones place. The hundreds place is 10 times greater than the tens place. What if we move 2 place value columns? Because that is 2 place value columns away. If there were an 8 here, it would be 10 times greater than this 8. So this 8 is how many times greater?
100.
Olive? 100. So it's 100 times greater. 800,000 times 100 is 80 million. We would add 2 zeros. It's 80 million. Okay? Okay, turn it over. So inequalities, that means we need a greater than or less than symbol or an equal sign. Raise your hand if you don't have your papers, your test stapled together yet. Okay, go ahead and give it to one of them. Okay, you need to come up with a common denominator. So 7/10, we need to show that that is equal to how many tenths? How do we find our equivalent fractions? Who can remind me? How do we find an equivalent fraction? Riley? We could, but we have to do an equivalent fraction. Yes, we could use 1/2 as a benchmark. I like that term. but we have to do a equivalent fraction here. How do I go equivalent fraction? Let me give you a hint, Riley.
To find equivalent fractions, multiply or divide the numerator and denominator by the same number.
I like it. So, Riley, here we did 2 times what to get 10? 2 times 5. So then we need to multiply the numerator times 5. So now we have 7/10 compared to 5/10, and it's easy. Is 7/10 greater than 5/10, less than, or equal? Greater. Okay, and then here you'll need to find a common denominator of 16. So we need to find an equivalent fraction that's in 16ths. Okay, down here. And who can read this number for me? Who can read this number? Every hand should be up. We just did one for review. Who can read it? Avi.
45 and 1300.
Very good. In 45 and 1300ths, answer the following questions about the 3. This is a decimal number. You can use your place value lap book to help you. You need the value, which is a number. You need the place value, which we need to write the place value column and then have the word place there at the end. You need to write it in word form, which we just read it out loud. It says to use your hyphens and the word and for the decimal point. Okay? Then you're ready to write 5/100ths as a fraction and a decimal. That is new. We have not done that. So we'll work on this one together. How do I write 5/100ths as a fraction? You guys should know that. How do I write 5/100ths as a fraction? Henry? Well, that's a decimal. How do I do it as a fraction? Yep. 5 is my numerator. What's my denominator? 100. Okay, and then Henry's exactly right. To write that as a decimal, we say 0.05. Okay, does anyone else need our stapler? Thank you. Okay, when we're converting fractions and decimals, we can only convert in tenths and hundredths. So our denominator needs to be 10 or 100. The other ones that we have memorized are fourth, like 1/4 and 3/4. But typically I could do 7/10 is equal to 0.7. 3/10 is equal to 0.3. 3/100ths is equal to 0., because I have to have a tenths and a hundredths place. So I just want to show you, if I have the fraction 1/2, that is not 0.12 or 1.2. I have to make that equal to something over 10 or 100. I have to make it 5/10 or 50/100ths, and then I can write it as a decimal. Okay? It is the same. You don't have to write this down, but it is the same for 1/4. We know the decimal for 1/4. What is it? A quarter, which is 0.25 or 25/100ths. Well, look, 1/4 is equal to how many hundredths? 4 times what is 100? 25. So then you have to do 1 times 25. That's how we get this. 25/100ths is equal to 25/100ths. Okay, so we have to have a 10 or a 100 on the bottom and our denominator, as in our denominator, to make this equivalent between fractions and decimals. We're going to practice that more, but that is just a little preview. Okay, here's our addition properties. Look here. Spelling counts. They're proper nouns. If it's a proper noun, what does that mean?
Uppercase.
We need to uppercase it. Use your journal to help you. Spell them correctly, and they need to be uppercased. Okay, I'll do this one with you. What do we call this property? 0 plus 46 equals 46. What's the addition property? Noah.
Identity.
Okay, so it needs to be uppercased. It needs to be spelled correctly. Okay, so go back in your math journal and find these. Now, they both have parentheses. They're not both associative. Okay, one is commutative, one is associative. So make sure you're not just looking at those parentheses. It's the numbers. Do they switch the order, or do they switch the numbers that are actually in the parentheses?
Will you have to put the identity property?
I would, since your teacher did and spelled it for you. Okay, area and perimeter. Okay, we need to divide the shape into 2 rectangles. Okay, Marin, do you want a vertical line or a horizontal line? Vertical, she says. Okay. Then you need to find the length of this side and this side. When you add your perimeter, how many sides should you add? How many are there? No, there's not that many.
6.
Okay? Okay, geometry. Use a ruler.
Exactly.
Use the blue sheet. Put points on there. Okay? I will do one for you. Draw a ray. Okay, it can be pointing any direction. It needs to have an endpoint. It needs an arrow. And you need another point. Yep. Okay, gather data to find the following questions. What is the distance and travel time from Greenwood, Indiana to Albuquerque, New Mexico? What states would you travel in by car? So, first of all, we'll have to go on. I'll help you with that part. I'm just going to get on my Google Maps. And right now we are in Greenwood, Indiana. So I need to go to my map. And I need to put Albuquerque. Albuquerque. Well, don't you think I'm probably... Okay. What is the distance? Look at that.
Oh my God.
Okay. So it's 1,162 miles. Okay. How long is it going to take?
Look it up.
Ah,
It depends what
Hey, does that mean your video?
18 hours, 14 minutes. Now, we did the hard part. Now, you need to look on a map. Look on a map of the United States and see what states would you travel through.
Oh no.
Okay? You can go online. Okay, guys, I know the internet dropped, and so you can't see the screen, but you can still listen. Okay? So, go online, pull up MapQuest, put in the distance that you want to travel, where you're going, and list the states that you find. Okay, are there any questions about the Spiral Review 9? Eloise?
Can we write this list down to go to how many miles is it?
Yeah, you'll need to. You have to go, yeah. Okay, Henry. 1,162 miles. Luke.
So you can just name states you want to travel.
No, it's the states that you have to go through to get from Indiana to New Mexico. It says by car because if you were flying, you wouldn't be going through those
Yeah,
cities.
we would because
Shh,
you're
no, I already did all kinds of freebies. Okay, Carter Thompson. Any other questions? Okay, yes, ma'am.